From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more Corner Pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi
and Corey Clark.
I'm on call.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. Coming up on today's show, we're still talking top 40. We've got Ira Schoffel, managing editor, breaking down his picks in the lower quadrant of his top 40. Some recruiting news, and also the voice of Florida State Athletics has been named and announced. Wake Up Warchant brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, again here in Tallahassee. On Tuesdays, a lunch special. Why not Taco Tuesday, everybody? $1.99 for a hard or soft shell taco, beef or chicken, option your discretion, and $3 Coronas. That's all day, though, not just 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. lunch. That's all day over at the Corner Pocket. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Thumbs up. This might be a little bit lighter if you're listening to us on YouTube, because a lot of stuff will already be on our YouTube page, and I won't repurpose it for your satisfaction on this podcast on YouTube, but it'll be on the regular podcast, so 5-star rating and review on the iTunes, Apple side of things. Corey's here, so is Ira. First, though, how are you, Ira? Unmute yourself. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Great. Corey, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. That was maybe the longest intro in the history of the show, I felt like. That was a full 60 seconds of you talking.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That's crazy. How dare I do that?
No, I wasn't saying. I was just commenting. It wasn't a critique. It was just an observation. I'm Isaac Newton over here.
Yeah, Corey's going to actually have a one-on-one with Jeff Culhane, who is the new voice for Florida State football and men's basketball. He's also the director of broadcasting for Learfield's Seminole Sports property. So what does that mean then ultimately, Ira? Because it sounds like Gene Deckerhoff had the job. Like he had the last of the great jobs probably, where he just kind of strolled in, called games, packed up, went back home. But it sounds like Jeff Culhane is going to have a little more stuff to juggle on his plate.
Yeah, no question. And I think that was part of the, decision-making process. A lot of people thought, our good friend Tom Block might be next in line. There's talk of, some people wanted Eric Llewellyn, some people, different people in the community had different people they were supporting who've been on the radio or have been on the broadcast in the past. But this is a different kind of job. And my guess is, I guess this is probably going to be the trend around college sports because, when we were all growing up, certainly when Corey and I were growing up, to an extent when you are, Aslan, the radio was how you listened. It was the way you got a lot of football games. Not every game was on TV the way it is now. So that's why it's part of the reason the guys like Gene Deckerhoff and Larry Munson of Georgia and those old iconic guys were so ingrained in the fabric, because that was the way most people caught a lot of the games. Well, now that's not the case. Every game's on TV now. The radio networks have been minimized. So I think, they're combining the two. He's going to broadcast the radio side, but he's also going to be in charge of, a lot of these ACC network games that they handle internally. I think he's got that broadcasting side background, television side background. So he'll be doing that as well. Yeah. So I think they just saw this as a chance with Gene Deckerhoff retiring to repurpose the position. My guess is I want to see what Florida does. Mick Hubert just retired as well. I'm curious to see if they go a similar route, or if any of these schools go back to having just a radio voice the way they did for all those years.
I mean, he's going to have to do more than Gene Deckerhoff did and probably make less money. But I guess when you're in Fargo, Tallahassee, Florida, we're still an iconic brand, right, Corey? So why not come on down?
Yeah, man, absolutely. The reach is more, the prestige is more. Nobody could. North Dakota State's been a really good program for a long time. I think I wrote that they won 9 national championships since 2010. Which is awesome. Nobody could tell you who the voice of their team was, right, unless you lived in Fargo. You said Fargo, right? That's where Correct. North Dakota State is.
Yep.
I always Billings is in Montana.
Yes.
I don't know that part
Bismarck.
of the world real well. I'll be honest with you guys.
Bismarck, you're thinking Bismarck.
Bismarck's South Dakota, right?
No, I think that's North Dakota.
Pierre is South Dakota. Get
Correct.
it together, Ira. Come on, gang. Let's get it together. But Gene Deckerhoff, people know that name, man. They know Mick Huber. They knew Larry Munson. They knew Rod Bramlett. Like it's more prestige when you're at one of these big time schools. It just is. That's the way. And the whole state will know them, and really the whole Southeast. But Ira brings up a good point. Like, how many people listen to games on the radio anymore? I almost feel like nowadays the one of the bigger reasons to have a play-by, and you obviously have to have one, is the highlight videos that come out later that week. And they'll replay the radio broadcast over those highlights, because the people that are sitting in their, I don't know, in their car, or maybe in the car, you have to drive somewhere on a Saturday, but nobody's really sitting at their home listening to the radio anymore, are they?
Especially because
there are those people that they say they mute the ESPN telecast and then have Deckerhoff turned all the way up. But
but you're delayed, so you have to do that weird game where like it's you have to delay it 10 seconds and then hit start and hope you've matched up perfectly. Otherwise, Deckerhoff's going to be telling you what happens before you see it on TV.
But I also think that was because Deckerhoff was beloved and that generation was beloved, because again, when I was in college and then even, for several years after that, we're not talking about the 50s here. We're talking about the 80s.
Yeah.
The radio was such a big part of it. And then you listen to the post-game show, the call-in show and all that. And to your point, like, yeah, you would want, if you're watching on TV, you didn't want to listen to, Brian Greasy or whoever, you could listen to Gene and William Floyd. But, I don't know that you're going to be doing that with Jeff Culhane. No offense to him, but, you're not any more tied to him than you are to anybody else.
Right on. Well said. Again, coming up later in the podcast, Corey's one-on-one, which hasn't happened quite yet, so we would have had him expound on it, but it's going to happen on later on in the day, but it will make its way onto this podcast, or it'll already be up on YouTube for your listening pleasure. I'm not going to lie, Ira, I brought you on here to talk about your top 40 because I was hoping that you had my dude, Leonard Warner III, on your top 40, but you don't, so I'm on this island by myself. I think Austin does, though, so shout out Austin, checks in the mail for hanging out on Warner Island with me. Looking at the bottom part of your top 40, which for whatever reason my computer does not like the grids and the charts of Microsoft Excel. Greedy Vance you have at 40, and he's a guy that when I did the sort of transfer portal look into where we spoke to publishers from other websites on the Rivals.com network that had covered these guys, whether it was Oregon or Arizona State. The publisher from Louisville was quite high on Greedy Vance. The defensive coordinator liked Greedy Vance a lot. I feel like Greedy Vance is probably next in line if, Renardo Green ends up not being able to work out at cornerback. So I don't know. I think that might put you a little bit higher than 40. I had him quite high on my list. I don't think he made it on to Corey's, or it might have been really low on Corey's. Why do you have Greedy at 40 on yours, Ira?
Yeah, I mean, I just was kind of looking at, I feel like there's a better chance that, like you said, Renardo Green or Jarian Jones. I'm a little bit more bullish on Jarian Jones than some people are. And so I think it's my guess is it's going to be one of those two guys that wins the job. And now maybe he plays a good bit in the rotation, either as a, backup at corner or backup at nickelback. I think that's another spot where he could end up playing. But I just, in the spring, he made a couple plays here and there, but I didn't look at him and say, okay, that's a guy who's definitely going to make an impact. Now, I kind of thought he would coming in because I think he started most of his games in Louisville. I mean, I think he was a main part of their starting rotation. So I would think that would translate to starting at Florida State, or at least being one of the top guys. I just didn't feel it by the end of the spring that was the case. So I went with, again, Green, Jarian Jones, and a couple of those guys ahead of him.
And for the record, I had him at 35th.
Okay. My bad, Corey. All right.
It's all right, buddy. It's all right.
I think what stood out to me was I think he had 8 pass breakups according to Pro Football Focus. And if you would have, I think adding every other cornerback on Florida State's roster, they had 9. So I like that level of aggressiveness, although he also was highly penalized. So you kind of got to take the good with the bad on that. But
he definitely, there's no question he's got really good ball skills, but he's not a big dude. So, I think he was, even in practice, you could see where he might have some infractions, grabbing and holding and that kind of thing. So, I think I wouldn't argue with your pick, but I didn't feel real confident putting him much higher than I did.
All right. I don't want to make you go through all of these, but we're going to go through all of them, but we'll kind of just touch real quick on them. You had Maurice Smith at 39. I had him quite higher up, and I think I have him kind of, platooned with Caden Lyles, kind of the way we would do with a quarterback. Like one of these guys is going to end up being the starter and doing well. I mean, Maurice took most of the snaps at center, but I feel like most everybody still just, I guess we believe in the ceiling of Caden Lyles over Maurice Smith.
Wait, Ira had him at 39 too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at you guys. Yeah. Boom.
How
look
about
at that.
Ira,
Great
good.
minds.
Hey, great minds, buddy. I had him at 39 as well.
similar minds. We'll see if they're great.
Good point.
But yeah, no, I kind of bet the offensive linemen. I really had a hard time. I had a bunch of them like in the low 20s, and I ended up, dropping him back, assuming they're going to go with Caden Lyles. But I'm with you, man. I don't know. It's hard to say. The one thing I would say in his defense, and I did wrestle with it because he did have a back injury last year. I don't say injury. He was hurt. He had a back problem early last season, and I think he probably played with that through most of the year. So I feel like there's a chance we're judging him. We're all assuming it's just his lack of weight that is the problem, but it may have been that back as well. I can't even imagine trying to play center and block people with a bad back. So I think there's a chance he'll have a bounce back year, but at the end of the day, I think I'm assuming or hoping maybe that Caden Lyles is the guy that FSU was hoping they were getting with a transfer from Wisconsin.
Well, and don't you think too, Ira, like the other linemen, at least a few of them, like Darius Washington, even Caden Lyles, maybe Bless Harris, maybe if they don't win a certain spot,
right,
or if somebody gets hurt, they can move somewhere else. I feel like Maurice Smith isn't going to help you anywhere but center. And if center is occupied, then what role is he really going to play for you? That's why he doesn't seem to have the versatility to play another position if he loses the center job, where Caden Lyles maybe fills in at guard if they need him there, or Bless Harris can maybe fill in at guard. Darius Washington go guard and tackle, or even center. So that's why I had him so low, is because I just don't think he's going to win the job. And if he doesn't win the job, a backup center that can't really help you anywhere else isn't all that impactful.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely part of it as well. You articulated it better than I did. The fact Dimitri Emmanuel has played tackle and guard. Darius Washington can play tackle or guard. Caden Lyles has played center or guard. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys that have versatility there. Maybe Maurice could play guard, but I don't know at that size if he really could.
So Greedy at 40, Maurice Smith at 39. He's got Johnny Wilson at 38. Ira is, that is. Sam McCall, 37. Corey and I, we did not have Sam McCall. Azaria Thomas, 36th on your list. What was it about Sam that you like so much to put him on your top 40? We like him as well, but I think Corey and I both just think there was such a logjam of upperclassmen, maybe not more talented than him, but upperclassmen, so it might be hard for him to kind of crack into an impactful role within the course of the season.
Yeah, and I just think I got to think that they're going to do more on special teams with some of those talented young freshmen than they did last year. I felt like, Patrick Payton and Shaheem Brown and Joshua Farmer, I mean, those are guys that I felt like should have been on the field a little bit more, and they just basically all got redshirted. They might have played 3 or 4 games, but they didn't play the whole season on special teams. And I got to think they're going to do that with Sam McCall and Azaria Thomas, and we'll see. Azaria seems like he's more likely to break into the rotation at corner, but I think Sam McCall is real talented as well. And I could see him I just think he's a playmaker. He's a big-bodied, long kid that's really athletic. And I just think, to me, that talent makes me think he's going to make some plays and make some kind of impact.
35, you got Josh Farmer. He made my list as well. Malcolm Ray, 34, a guy that I think both Corey and I probably undervalue, at least relative to most people on the boards, and I think you, Tom, and Jeff. I mean, is Malcolm Ray, do you think he's a depth kind of guy because you've got really good players like Fabian and Robert Cooper in front of him, Jarrett Jackson maybe to a certain degree as well. Do you just think that we've seen enough flash from Malcolm that's going to probably continue and maybe in a little bit more spades, I guess, of him making plays in the backfield?
Yeah, I think he's been productive. I mean, I know he's not imposing physically. He doesn't look like, one of those. He doesn't look like the 2 starters physically. Certainly doesn't have the height that maybe you'd want. But, man, I think he's a productive player. If you look at the plays he made by number of snaps he was on the field, I think he's a productive player. He's not a guy that's going to occupy 2 linemen like Robert Cooper, but I think he can make plays in the backfield. And I think he'll be him and Jarrett Jackson. I think are going to get a lot of snaps to keep Coop and Fabian fresh.
All right, and then 31 through 33 for you. You got Shaheem at 31, DJ Lundy 32, Darius Washington 33. I don't have Shaheem on my list. I might be one of the few that didn't. Listen, I've seen him make plays in practice. Like, I get it. I just, Corey's mentioned it too. Like, we need to see him do it actually in a game. And I think once he does that, then I'll be like, all right, I should have known this coming all along. But do you just think that the opportunity is ahead of him this coming season? And once he does get one, we'll see people, at least at home, will realize why so many articles and pieces of content on our website have talked about him?
Hey, man, I broke up for a second. Was it Shaheem? Is that who you're asking about? Yeah. No, I just think I think the talent is no question. I mean, and this isn't just us watching him, talking to people around the program. They think he's got potential physically to be one of the next greats. I think last year we got excited because we saw that. And again, they didn't use him really on special teams much, where I think they could have and should have. But I think it's a lot to ask a guy at safety to play as a true freshman. If you think about Jalen Ramsey, he played corner as a freshman, then moved to safety. I think it's a lot to ask a true freshman to play safety when you had so many guys that had a lot of experience. And definitely once they moved Jamie Robinson back there just weren't a lot of snaps. I think this year, he'll be one of those first guys to come off the bench in that safety rotation. And if he gets on the field, I have no doubt he's going to make plays. Now, the key is, and why you don't put him out there as a freshman, is you don't want him giving up the 60 or 70 yarder. But I think if he gets on the field, I think he'll make plays.
And don't you think he will? Like, doesn't he seem to be in line to be the top backup safety?
Yeah, I think he's right there. I mean, I think they've got a couple more. Again, they still have some experienced guys. I mean, Sidney Williams has experience.
Yeah.
Jarquez McClellan's got a lot of experience. But no, I do think he's going to be in that group, and I think his upside is so much higher than those guys. So I think he's going to pass them. The question is it early in the season, midway through the season, or late in the season?
Hey, Corey, express our gratitude to Ira for taking time out to talk to us.
I think before I do that, I think Darius is pretty low. What was the thinking there, Ira?
I just think, man, I think the kid from Carolina, I think Dimitri Emmanuel is basically going to beat him out for that guard spot or the swing spot. And if Bless Harris starts to tackle, I think that bumped him down a little bit, man. I have a feeling that Darius may go to being like the seventh guy. So that's why I did not love the move from what we saw of Darius in the spring at guard. I was not really impressed by that. Now it was a short sample size and it was a new position for him. But I don't know if he's better than Bless Harris to tackle. My guess is he might not be better than Dimitri Emmanuel at guard. And then, if Caden Lyles is a backup, maybe he becomes the backup guard. I have a feeling he may end up being like the seventh guy. So that's why I dropped him down.
Okay. All right. Hey, Ira, we always appreciate you coming by, buddy.
Thanks, man. I got you a little choked up there. That's how much it means. I appreciate that, man.
I did get choked up because it means this is a family. Warchant is a family. And when we talk to each other, it's hard to not get a little choked up when we're shooting the breeze for the listeners, man. And that means a lot. I just want to tell them how much it means to you.
It's incredible, man. Like when I woke up and I knew that I have Ira on the show, I'm like, all right, man, my day's better. Everybody that listens to this podcast, their day's going to be better. And it makes me feel better that I'm making other people feel better. Thanks, Ira.
Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
Recruiting news coming up right after this. Hey, look at this, everybody. It's Michael Langston. You know what that means. Time to talk recruiting. Monday was a busy one for you there, Michael. Was it official visit with William Fowles?
No, it was just an unofficial visit.
Okay, well, he was on campus. An SEC offensive lineman was on campus. Jazston, Turnetine. Let's start there real quick. First off, he's got a tweet I didn't see this until the other day that's pinned about how like he's got a year left and he doesn't want to waste it sitting in the SEC. And is that because of the whole, interconference transfer rules, or is it like he thought he wasn't going to play at South Carolina, so he's like, I want to get out of here?
I think it's more of in a conference rule.
Okay.
He wants to go somewhere he can play, that he can get some action. Jazston was a surprise to be up there. As you reported this morning, he was up at FSU, met with the media, told everyone my intention is to commit to FSU. So his intention is he's going to be here, wants to be here. I think they're going through all the academic stuff to make sure everything checks out. If it checks out, I think he'll be a Seminole, and that's about as cut and dry as I get. To my knowledge, I saw him at the youth camp, which they hosted tonight. I think it was lasting till about 8. And he was there just hanging out watching Atkins. But I think he's just waiting on them to give him the go. And then if he give him the go, then he's good to go. And if there's an issue with the academics, then might not happen. But, right now, that's kind of where things sit as far as his commitment. He made it very clear that he plans to his intentions are to commit to FSU.
Do you think if everything works out, I guess on the academic side of things, do we anticipate him being a scholarship guy, or would he be walking on?
Yeah, I asked about that. I think it could be either one. I don't think it's going to be a situation where they don't give him a scholarship. If they have one and they feel comfortable about it, they'll do it. I don't think it's a situation where, no, we're not going to give you a scholarship. I mean, I think they can, and I think that's being figured out too. But I think the main thing is just making sure his academics is supposed to be, on kosher and everything's good. And I think if that happens, I think he's going to be a Seminole. But I don't. I was not given a clarification if it'd be PWO or a regular ship, but I don't think it's like FSU's defiant against, oh no, we're not going to do a regular ship. I think it could be. I think it's just something they're figuring out with their numbers.
Okay, cool. I just want to figure it out because I'm like, man, if he's like, I don't want to sit out a year. It's like, what, he doesn't have good enough grades at an SEC school, but he's got good enough grades to come to Florida State. I thought we're a top 20 school now, but it makes sense. I guess the whole. You have to be in the portal by a certain amount of time to be able to transfer within an SEC program. So.
Yeah, and I think he has like 3 courses, and I've heard that everything looks good. That he should be fine, but until you get the okay, until you get the Mike Norvell tweet, until you get all this stuff that FSU solidifies that it's good, then it's not happening. But I kind of wanted to explain people, and a lot of this all happened like William Fowles' wrap-up visit was right when Jazston was there, and then we found out later another recruit was coming on campus. So all this happened in like a 5-minute span. So it was kind of chaotic for a little while, but that's kind of the situation with Jazston.
All right. Well, you and I will be, or at least I'll be on standby. You'll be probably working and sweating and all that kind of stuff. But I'll be ready to knock out a commitment video once it all becomes official. If it does become official, again, as that's got to go through the academic side of things. Again, man, this kid's 6'7", 342. He started 10 games in 2 seasons at South Carolina. Not the best PFF grades. I mean, to be honest, very low. But again, that gives you depth, big body. Maybe something's unlocked in him his last money season here. Alex Atkins works some magic. So at this point, why not everybody, right? Everybody's excited when somebody new shows up. So why not somebody that's 6'7", 342 that plays on the line?
Yeah. I agree with that, Aslan. I think it's mainly, a guy that can fit into your 1-2 deep, and have depth, and maybe he emerges or whatnot. But we'll see. Yeah. I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of what's going on, so don't worry. If something happens, I'm definitely going to let you guys know.
Just make sure you stay hydrated in the meantime. Although it won't be that bad on Tuesday. I think it's only going to be like 98. Wednesday's supposed to get like 104, which I think is a 7-on-7 day, so maybe I'll have to probably be out there again. Golly.
Yeah.
All right, hey, let's get back to the high school kids. William Fowles. Shout out, class of 2023. So there's urgency here. This is a kid that's going to be playing and suiting up in next season, not this coming season, but the following season. And we've been talking about a lot of 24 and 25 kids, but 6'2", 212 out of Miami Christian School, wide receiver. What were your thoughts on speaking to him during his visit at Florida State this day?
Yeah, they got there around 9:45 this morning. Spent, I think they were there till around, I want to say 2. And then I think it went really well. I think this is one guy they have a legit shot with William Fowles. I think he's really sold on the coach that Dugans is, the coach that Norvell is. Really loves everything about FSU. He's going to officially visit FSU. It sounds like probably in the fall, but we did a story and people can read all about it. But I think FSU sits in a pretty good spot with him. I think he feels really comfortable with him. They've been on him the longest, or one of the longest, and you're certainly a big body kid, 6'2", 212, 4-star prospect. Kind of fits everything that need to be checked off for what FSU's looking for in a receiver, and we know they need receivers. So certainly he is a major target, and I think everything was pretty smooth today. I think it couldn't gone any better. He was there with his team, Dade Christian, about 25 kids there. His brother's also a guy that FSU's offered. I want to say Shamar Fowles. He's probably I think he's a younger kid. Talked to him a little bit, seemed very positive as well. So I think FSU's doing a really good job with the Fowles family, and I think he'll be back probably for a game, and then he'll also take an official there. So I think they're doing everything right they need to with Mr. Fowles there.
Hey, real quick, speaking about brothers, that Jameis Winston kid, he's got a brother.
Yes.
Jonah Winston. We didn't even talk
Yes.
about that. He's class of 2026, Hoover
Yes.
High, Buccaneers, stand up. What was that like having him on? He was here for the quarterback camp this past weekend, right?
Well, I just turned 51, so it made me feel really damn old when I saw him, Jonah. Because the last time I saw Jonah was when Jameis was here, and he was just a small little dude that was hiding behind Jimbo Fisher's office and stuff, and just see how much he's grown. Obviously, he's grown up a lot. I got to catch up with Ant Winston, James's dad, and Jonas's dad, and it was just fun to catch up with those guys. And as I pointed out on our board, he has that same ball location that Jameis does. Now he's got a long ways to go.
All right.
He's got a long ways to go. He's only a freshman, but it was really cool. It's just certain moments that are really cool, and it was good to see Jonah and just watch him a little bit and just see Ant, and certainly I think that's a guy that we'll keep an eye on without a doubt. When your brother's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play at FSU, you're certainly going to take notice when that guy's on campus. So that was a pretty cool moment.
Right on. And hey, man, I know you're tired. I don't want to keep you too long, but I did see this tweet, and I'm just like, man, like what's going on here, man? Like, what's going on here? It was from Bruce Feldman, and Bruce Feldman tweets out that 5-star on some services, 4-star on Rivals. Ruben Owens says he's going to Louisville. He's the number 16 overall recruit in the 2023 class, I think maybe on 247.
Yeah.
So Louisville now has 4 guys that are in the top 200.
Yep.
So, like, I know, they probably need to show some stuff on the field too, but what's going on? Are we losing the Papa John's money, KFC money? What's going on here? Not that we were in competition with them, but a little bit frustrating maybe to see a program that's not maybe on level ground with you kind of.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at that. I was, I got there, I checked on, just talked with a few different people, and I get the impression it's the Adidas. That's a big draw. That's being a big draw for Louisville. So I hear that's the big draw so far. Keep in mind, these are commitments; these aren't binding, so that could change. True. But I was just as my eyebrows were raised just as much as you were, Aslan, because it's Louisville. Like, come on, they've lost the they lost the FSU when Taggart was there, so it's
twice really owned them.
Yeah, so I think it's more about Adidas. That's kind of feeling I get.
All right, just checking. It's going to happen here. These kids are going to start committing soon, hopefully, everybody. Hopefully, so all of Michael and Austin's work isn't for naught.
Yeah, big official visit weekend. I think they got 7 guys. I'm going to work on probably that preview in the next few days. So, it's also a big official visit weekend for FSU. I think around 7 guys so far. It could be more.
Okay.
So, yeah, just keep in mind that, guys. I'll have that coming up.
All right, we'll be on the lookout for that over the premium recruiting board. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll see you in the flesh on Wednesday. Maybe I'll be back out to 7-on-7, Michael. Just to feel it. I just want to feel 104 degrees. I just want to feel that. I want to feel it. Experience.
Well, you're going to feel it. But they also had Quentin Martin, an athlete, 6'3", 205 pounds, out of Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania. His family was on a trip to Florida. From what I could gather, FSU was the only school that he visited. I think Coach Gonzalez, probably one of their support staff guys that he's close to. He was the main reason he got over there. Spent a lot of time with Norvell, spent a lot of time with certainly different support staff guys, and really said, hey, that he was really blown away just the connection he had with a lot of the coaches, and also just Norvell was really direct and honest with him, and just said, hey, this is what you're going to be if you come here, and this is what we expect from our guys. And he mentioned Martin mentioned, hey, this is a place I feel really at home at when I was here today. So I expect a return visit. He's 2024 number 12 player in the whole country. He was there today. So everyone asks, like, where's the elite guys? Well, there you go, there's an elite guy, the number 12 in the country. So I think it was big. I mean take advantage of these vacations and getting these kids on campus, and certainly as another top player to get somebody like Quentin Martin on campus, and there's going to be a return visit, so that's kind of what you want.
Okay. All right, there we go, everybody. Listen, man, Michael, thanks for taking the time out, man. I know you're exhausted. I get to sit in the air condition most of my day, so I get to live the dream. But thanks, man. We appreciate it.
You got it, buddy.
All right, so thanks to Michael. That's a wrap on the podcast if you're listening to us on YouTube. But if you're one of the folks that downloads the podcast, more coming up. It's going to be the one-on-one with Jeff Culhane, who is now the new voice of FSU. Corey was going to do it, but I ended up having to kind of fill in at the last minute. So it's me, y'all. It's me and Jeff Culhane, the voice of FSU. So that's coming up here on the podcast. All you folks on YouTube, have a great day and be on the lookout for Seminole Headlines, 1 to 3 o'clock, with Tom Lang filling in for Jeff Cameron.